couple of minutes here, or seconds, 20 seconds or something like that. And then I will go to, whoops.
Looks like we're broadcasting.
So here we go with the official, well, as soon as it quits playing an ad on my end. Let's see here. Well, maybe I'll just do it anyway. Exciting advertising here. Okay, I'm going to share screen. And hello, everybody. Steve Sandy here, along with Marty Edwards. We're your exciting crew for tonight.
Good evening.
Yeah, AWT TV. We're live from our respective homes, and in case you're wondering about the backdrop back here, no, it is not a bed sheet. It is actually a real live backdrop. However, you know what I found out? I got a new light, and apparently it was too dark. And what was happening is my face turned into this glowing orb with the new light because there wasn't enough ambient light around us. And so I had to put something bright behind me that would kind of even things out. So,
well, you know, I was afraid to watch last week's episode because you looked like a head just floating in space, and it was a little eerie, you know.
Ooh.
Well, you're talking about the light. I sort of feel like maybe I was too bright, but I've gotten good feedback. People say it looks good and light. But to show you how you can save energy, all that's illuminating this room is one 8-watt LED. That's all I've got. Yeah, I've got that triple light there. I've got one bulb and it's 8-watt. Probably a Philips.
I think this LED panel is, I don't know, I keep thinking it's 50 watt or something like that. It might be 100 watt, but you can turn things on and off and do all sorts of things. And you notice this week.
Oh, yeah, looks good. So how long have you had the, what do they call them, earpods? Earbuds.
Just got them. I mean, literally this afternoon, got the package in the mail, and here's the little dental floss container that they come in, and that's the little charging container.
Yeah.
You can see the little green light there. But I was pretty impressed with you know, how quickly it synced up to my iPhone. But there was one weird thing about it. You know, they say that once you've done it to your iPhone, it, you know, over iCloud, it will you know, let all of your various devices know about it. Never showed up on my Mac, so I actually had to go in and do a separate pairing with the Mac. So I don't know what's wrong. It's me.
Well, generally iCloud does synchronize pretty good, but things happen, you know.
Yeah, occasionally weird things happen. Well, I noticed you were on Twitter a little bit ago. I was sending out some weather reports. We had lots of hail and rain, and fortunately the hail wasn't as bad here as it was in other parts of Denver. They had like literally piles of hail in the downtown area. And then I'm going to see if I can share this. Well, maybe not. Here we go. I'll see if I can share this one picture just showing this is in another part of Denver. We get this every year. It's nothing new. We get this stuff all the time. But this one, there we go. As you can see,
oh, wow.
They were a little bit larger than golf ball sized hailstorm or hailstones there. We had some of those last year at one point.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That kind of hail will do serious damage.
Well, we get a lot of it here. And yeah, you can see here this the holes in the back window of this car. And I think there was another one. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, look at this.
Wow.
Punch through there. And that's, I hate to say it, but it's like, we're pretty used to it here in Colorado. That's where our homeowners insurance and automobile insurance
Right.
rates are like through the roof. This happens all the time in Colorado.
We get some hail here, but not to that. Not to that degree. We're in an area where we do get some tornadic activity, but not that often. A lot of thunderstorms, and so very nice day here today. I think 71 or 2, calling for 83 the next 2 days. So very, very spring-like. So, and I think since our last visit, you've got another, I guess, connected device that I also have that's going to be AppleKit compatible. The Chamberlain garage door.
Oh, yes. Yeah, the MyQ compatible Chamberlain garage door opener. You are correct.
Yeah,
and
we
you've
both
had
have
yours
that
for a lot longer.
Yeah, I have put in garage doors, and honestly, I was putting in plain ones. Of course, I'm a very tech guy, but and I got to look at the garage door opener, had this logo on it called MyQ. So I got to investigating, found out that they can connect to the internet. So I had to buy a module that was $50, $54 maybe from Amazon. They had it in stock. All I had to do was hook it up to a switch with a Cat 5, and it opens and closes the garage doors perfectly. And I had a great use for it last week. I think since our last before our last broadcast, I may have told you on air, but we were about an hour and a half away and had to spend the night, but I needed my brother to come to my house to feed some lions, or cats, some say, outside or that are here. And the cat food was inside. So when he pulled up, he texted me, "I'm at your house." I hit the Chamberlain opener, opened up the garage. He took care of everything. He said, "I'm done." I closed it from far away. So
nice. Well, I tell you, the one thing I'm really looking forward to is every time we go on a trip. I mean, this has happened for years, but I'll leave the house and we'll be about a block away from the house. And the thought goes through my mind, did I close the garage door? Because, you're in a rush, you're ready to get out of there. And it's so automatic. It's one of those things you always, punch the button and the garage door closes. And at least now I don't have to turn around, go back to the house. I'll be able to just pull over to the side of the road, pull up the app and go, the garage door has been closed. Yay.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I've got a little bit, I guess, additional tech in that I have 9 IP cameras around the house. So I can look and see if they're closed.
Wow.
But I do like that about the garage door openers very much. If I sound a little lost, I was just going to give our viewers a quick look at that app, and just shows what it shows and how simple it's laid out. Let me go to screen share here and do the QuickTime. And I've got me on QuickTime. I don't need me. I need the iPhone. Okay, that should come up. You see an app, look at that, 136 notifications on Slack. I've got to clear some of those out.
Don't see it yet.
Yeah, okay. Well, I thought it was sharing. QuickTime, probably a little delay. It's showing it's sharing. Oh, I'm sorry. I selected, I got to hit share screen.
There we go.
Boy, I tell you, I'm such a newbie here on the, still learning a little bit.
Don't feel bad. I'm the same way.
So you can see my phone screen now then. So
yeah, I sure can.
And right there's the app. It's called MyQ from LiftMaster, Chamberlain garage door openers. You open it and I log in, and there's my wife's name, Ruby, and mine, and our respective size. I don't drive a lot. My garage door has been closed for 5 days, and that's not a mistake. I have not left the house except with my wife, and she just got home a while ago, and hers has been closed for 30 minutes. And I'm going to give you just a quick demo. All I do is tap on her side, and it will actually open the garage doors. You see it showing it's lifting?
Yeah.
And I can see with security cameras, indeed, it is open. It's been opening for so many seconds, and let me get it open. I'll close it back. Now, it tells me that her garage just opened at 8:42 p.m. and I see a cat outside looking in like, where's the food, since you opened the garage door? They're like Pavlov's dog. When they hear the garage, they expect food.
The
Okay,
garage open.
yeah, I'll hit close now, and there will be a delay of 10 seconds. The light in the garage flashes for 10 seconds. I suppose that's to let people know, get out of the way if you're standing here. And then it will close. And sure enough, there's the visual indication. And I can now see cats very disappointed, but they have plenty of food, so they're okay.
Well, I've got one here that's yelling at me for food, so.
So I'll have to go later, check, make sure there's no cats in the garage, but it's okay if they are. And then before our show's over, to give a little preview, I thought I might demo if people are interested. One of Dennis's friends from another blog had a review of white noise down at the corner, and I've been studying it a little bit today. And I bought that app some time ago, and it can do far more than I realized. So if you're interested later, I can give a little overview of that.
Actually, why don't you do it? Well,
okay, well, I'll go right back to it. And,
well, you're all hooked up.
Yeah, well, I am.
All dressed up and no place to go.
So you can see it okay then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, white noise, if you'll look on our site, Dennis had a review from a friend of his of this app, White Noise. And what it is, it generates noise for you to go to sleep by, or if you just want to hear. It works really good, and I did double check. There's two versions in the App Store. There's a free version, ad support, and this one is 99 cents. And it's quite an app for 99 cents. So you open it up, and I'm not going to rate it here. I've got mine set just automatically start making noise. I have rain on an umbrella. Sounds like rain on a tent. And I often go to sleep with that. It's very, very comforting sound. And you just slide left and right to select sounds. Here's Ocean Beach. That one's really good, of the waves coming in. Campfires are really good one I enjoy. The crackling and of the fire. And so you just select those, and I'll just leave it over here. The jungle gets sometimes a little loud, but Amazon jungle. But there's some very unique ones that people like to go to sleep by: wind turbines, lightning. This is a good one. Rain really hitting a car roof. Dripping water. I think there's a vacuum cleaner, a jet turbine, shower. There's many different things.
I was going to ask, do they have one of large hailstones hitting a car?
Well, you can work that in if you want to. And I'll show you what you can do here. I think it's a great app for 99 cents. It's got a sleep timer. I have mine set to go off after 1 hour. I just open up the app and it starts playing automatically. And I have it set to cut off after an hour. That's something I'm very blessed with. It doesn't take me long to go to sleep. We're talking 30 seconds. I'm gone.
Yeah, me
too. I don't need anything, but I like to hear it anyway. And so you hit the menu up here, and you can do a playlist of sounds. You can create a sound. I did not realize this until today. I was working with you. Create a recording. So you've got the hailstones. You just go out, hit record as long as you want to, then hit stop, and it will create the perfect audio loop, it says there. And so it will just play the loop that you had recorded over and over. But one thing I did not know, you can mix sounds. I knew you could do that. But you can create sounds, and I'm going to create a mix. You can download sounds or generate sounds. I think that's a little extra pay, but create mix is not. I'm going to show you something that's very interesting. Let's say I want the campfire, but I also want the campfire, I think, on the beach. All right.
Nice.
And so you create them together. And let's have one more. Let's just have a little bit of a thunderstorm here on the beach at the same time, 3. All right, but look at what it does. I can balance how strong. I want the campfire to be the predominant sound. I want lightning real far away. So I drag it out to the edge.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I did not know it could do that. And then the ocean beach right there. And you just sort of mix and overlap, little Venn diagram, the way that you want, and create your sound. And so there they are. It's called Beach Fire Thunder. Who would have thought of that?
One question. It's called white noise. Is there a way to get just plain white noise? In other words, just kind of a loud type of noise.
I'm glad you asked. All right, you've got all these nature sounds, but you keep going one way. There's a sound of someone opening presents. I've never thought of going to sleep to that. That usually excites me, and I want to wake up. What are they doing? But
good point.
Christmas morning. But here's white noise. They have them at all different frequencies. As you see, the colors represent
Oh,
the
wow.
frequency. And so quite a few, but you can download more sounds.
Nice.
There's a lot. Railroad tracks, some kind of Oriental Tibetan singing bowl, a heartbeat, crowd noise, city. I actually sort of like that one, jet taking off, a vacuum, dishwasher, someone
Hmm.
blow drying their hair. So there's many, many sounds, clothes dryer, ticking clock, uh, cat purring. That's a pretty good one right there.
Oh, that's a good one.
And so, for 99 cents, it's a really well done app. And I usually, the one that you want, as a matter of fact, I haven't used wind turbines. One thing I like about this app, let me swipe it away. And I'm going to go back to it. It always remembers my last noise. All I got to do is open the app. It'll play for an hour, close itself, very low maintenance. And
Nice.
yeah, you don't have to do hardly anything. And I think that's probably part of the design. There's no reason in doing anything. If you're tired and going to sleep, just tap the icon, go to sleep. So thank you
Excellent.
very much. Yeah.
I'm impressed.
So,
Well, and it's funny because I was looking at that, and I think I've mentioned I've got a little bit of tinnitus or tinnitus. Actually, both of those are correct pronunciations of that issue. But anyway, I've got some pretty bad tinnitus in my left ear and a little bit in my right. But I was looking for a white noise generator app, and I'm probably going to end up picking that one up. The interesting thing is that I, just for the heck of it, because I thought I had remembered reading something about it, somebody has actually come up with an app. It was a group of audiologists, and they figured out a way of turning an iPhone into a quote unquote hearing aid. So I have hearing loss in my left ear, not so much in my right. And I just requested to see if I can get a review copy of this app and see how it works. But they allow you to do things like if you're in where I really have issues is if I'm in a noisy room and somebody's talking to me, I really have problems understanding what they're saying. And this will let you like bring up the voice and bring down the other noises. So, or allegedly. So, hopefully, I'll be able to give that a try, and maybe on one of the future shows we can actually do a demo of that with
that'd be great.
my
Yeah.
cool AirPods.
Well, I think our audience probably enjoy the app reviews, and maybe be good to do it at the first part like this. Catch
Yeah.
them and then they say, "Oh, they're just going to talk now. I'm going to turn it off."
Yes, kill.
Yeah, when we're
Yeah.
done with that. But
Yeah, they go, time to go to sleep.
yeah, I did not write the review on the website. One of Dennis's friends, as I said, it's a great review he wrote. But I thought I already had that loaded and purchased, and so for 99 cents, it's really a good buy.
Yeah, it just amazes me. And I think that's one thing I really love the most about, the Apple environment, the iOS environment, is you have so many really good apps out there, and darn well that they're not loaded with malware. We had a post earlier this week. There's a new Android malware app every 10 seconds.
It's unbelievable.
And, that's one of the issues. They don't do the same level of, what's the term for it?
Curating.
Thank you. Brain was not working here. But yeah, they don't curate as much. I think anybody who wants to put something into the Google Play Store or some of the other, I know Amazon's got their Fire Store or whatever you want to call it, Kindle Store, Kindle Fire Store. But there's not that level of curation. Nobody tests it. Nobody, does a lot with those apps. And
well, I agree. And I do have an Android, and I was having to download something to test, and I really found myself tentative, like, I hope this doesn't have malware in it.
Yeah.
But I don't even think about that on the iPhone. I guess, and someone certainly more knowledgeable than me could confirm, if something did manage to slip through, the sandboxing and isolating of apps
Yeah.
should prevent it from contaminating the system.
Yeah, which is yet again another one of the good deals there. That one article we had earlier this week where they were talking about the 8,400 new Android malwares per day. Interesting thing about that was they also brought up, the fact that, not only does Apple do this really good job of making sure that these apps don't have some sort of malware in there, but they also brought up the fact that, since Apple is continually updating, you even get some security updates that you don't even know about.
Yeah, exactly.
But, when we get the new versions, there are definite patches that are put in there as well. But, they were bringing up the fact that, some malware does happen to sneak through. It's usually closed in literally a matter of hours after it's discovered. So,
Right.
good thing.
I just feel far more secure, and just by the general construction of iOS, if an app is misbehaving and wants, say, access to your microphone, it has to ask, you have to give it overt permission. So,
Yeah, I had to give my AirPods permission. No, just kidding. They kind of got right in there.
So what's your first view, I guess, feel of them? How do you like them?
I'm pretty impressed. The sound quality is great. I love the little charging case. This thing is, it's either got mints in it or dental floss, one of the two. And there is actually a company that sells stickers, and it's Johnny Ive brand dental floss. But that's kind of fun. But this thing is, it's so cool. There's believe it or not, on the back of that, I don't know if you can see, but right here where my finger is, there's actually a little button, and that's the button you use for pairing if you're pairing to another device. And it's kind of this little magnetic, snap top there. It makes a noise. Real happy with that. They fit in my ears just great. I can do this part of the thing, and they're not going to fall out.
That'll probably be one of the most popular points in this show right then.
Yeah. Yeah. What'll probably happen is whenever I put these out, or, we save them to YouTube, it always auto chooses the thumbnail image.
Exactly.
Probably be me going,
Yeah. And also, don't they, whenever you put them back in the case, they sort of magnetically snap in as well. Yeah. So a lot of good feedback there. Yeah.
And I was totally impressed with with how fast the pairing goes with the iPhone. I mean, it's like you open up the case and boom, it comes up and says, "Hi, we have Steve's AirPods right here. Do you want to pair them?" Tap and it's done. Now, the one thing that I did seem to have an issue with is it's supposed to share that information then with all the devices that are attached to that same iCloud account. And yet I sat here and waited and waited and waited at least a half hour or so on my iMac. Never did see that it, understood that I had a pair of AirPods. So I went in and manually, punched the little almost invisible button on the back here and did a manual pairing. And at that point, it was fine and dandy. You can hear it come up and makes this nice bling noise. And everything is suddenly, I've got sound.
Yeah. So you're obviously listening to our broadcast through them now. So the sound's good and everything.
Yeah. The one thing is I did try using them for my iRig. I mean, instead of my iRig Studio microphone that I've got sitting in front of me here, just to see if I could do the entire thing. And I did some test recordings, and it doesn't have that depth of sound that you would normally get with a quote unquote studio mic. So I decided that I was going to use the regular mic, and I just use these to listen in. But listening, it's absolutely great. Good sound.
Well, it's something I haven't, purchased or even considered. Were they back ordered? Did it take you a while to get them?
No, this is the greatest thing. I've been thinking, yeah, maybe someday when, they're finally not back ordered for 6 to 8 weeks, I'll go ahead and order a pair. And last week I was just kind of, looking around at some other sites, which we normally do to make sure, we're not missing some news. And this thing came up. I'm not sure what site it was. It might have been Apple Insider, I think. But anyway, it came up and it said, "Oh, AT&T actually has AirPods in stock, and you can get them, for the same price that you normally do through Apple." So I went out to the AT&T site. Sure enough, there they were. Ordered them, and that was, I think, Wednesday, and they came this afternoon. So better
That's
than
pretty
waiting
good.
6 weeks.
Oh, definitely. So, yeah. Well, they look
I'm happy.
great. A little. I wouldn't mind. I tend to like black electronics, and I know you can get a company to do them, but I wouldn't mind if they were offered in black. White is so. I don't know. They just sort of stand out. I feel like they would, and I had
These
to.
look,
I
they're
realized.
plastic sideburns.
Yeah, exactly. I'm no fashion guru, and I know everybody watching will quickly agree, but I am a little self-conscious, on things. Hanging out my ear, and I'd be an early adopter around, and I probably feel a little bit better if I could get them in black and they weren't so glaring. I
Yeah.
mean, they look great, but against against your black shirt and cap, they do stand out.
Yes, they do. Well, the one thing I think I'm going to have to look for, I keep thinking that somebody makes like, it's almost like a shell that goes over them. You get them in different
Mm.
colors. And I'll have to see if I can find that, because I have to agree with you. I'm not sure I'm really that thrilled about the white. Black would be good. And for going to Colorado Rockies games, even though we're having a rain out tonight, um, I, I could get into purple. That would be
Yeah,
cool too. Because I'm thinking
exactly.
I may bring these to the baseball game so I can listen using the MLB at Bat app. Listen to the game.
And that's an app we've demoed and one I use daily.
One of my favorites. It is a
Just
good app.
since we have a free for all, was it? I guess it was Sunday night. Well, which would have been last night. I was watching the game on ESPN. I think I finally went to
Me
bed
too.
13th inning,
Yeah, was
and
that unbelievable?
I
It didn't
know
get over until what, like,
it was 2:15.
oh,
They
jeez.
said they were even talking about it this morning, and I think they listed it said 2:15. So it's about 7.5 hour game or 15 minutes and 18 innings. That's
Yeah,
two ball
apparently,
games.
yeah, it's apparently has the record as the longest interleague game ever. And believe it or not, I think my wife and I actually attended the shortest interleague game ever, which was way less than 2 hours. We actually were at the Society for American Baseball Research convention back in, I don't even know what year it was, but the Rockies were playing the Mariners, and we went to the game as a group, the 500 or so people who were at the convention, and the game just went like, it was bam, 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 and it got over with so quickly. It was the fastest baseball game in Colorado Rockies history up to that point, and I think ever since. I think it's still their record.
That's
And it was
interesting.
also so soon that the buses that were coming back to pick up our group hadn't left.
Oh,
So everybody's standing there waiting, having a good night.
well,
Craziness.
well, last night, not only a long game till 2:15, but they may have been given New York time, but they said 2:15. Usually all times are
Yeah.
given where the game's played, and which would have been Central Time. But not only that, but it was like 42 degrees. If you
Or,
stayed the whole thing, it was a rough game.
hey, I've gone to baseball games at Wrigley Field in the spring, and it's nasty. You get this cold, cold, cold wind. I remember being there one year, and I mean, honestly, I don't think I've ever felt that cold in my life. And it was, and you've got high humidity too. That's the biggest
Yeah.
problem. Whew. Yeah.
Well, and what brought us to baseball was, those would work great at the stadium. And, you know,
Until you drop them in a beer, but at least they're waterproof.
and, I'm not trying to think of the negative, but in such a crowded environment, it'd be easy for someone to snatch them out of your ear. And hopefully that's not going to happen. So,
yeah, we can only hope that would. People are pretty. I got to admit, they're pretty good in our section.
I don't think that's going to happen.
But
it's
if they were
it's
bad,
too obvious. I wonder now, speaking of that, I'm glad I mentioned, like every other Apple product, do they have a Find My AirPod where you can ping it wherever they're at?
Yes, they do. That was actually part of the. In fact, I've got to see if that comes up on my iPhone now. But that was apparently one of the additions to I think iOS 10.3.1, or are we at 2 now? No, we're still at 10.3.1, aren't we? I can't remember. I'm too old for this. Let's see, we're still at 10.3.1. Oh, I've got new carrier settings update. How nice. Thank you, AT&T. But anyway, I will look here, because that is a really good question. Because like I said, I did know that you can use there's my get back here. Find iPhone. There we go.
I know you can ping them to make a noise. Right. But I didn't know if you could track them over a great distance. I mean, they obviously are not going to be connected.
Yeah, apparently you can.
So I guess they get on Wi-Fi.
Yeah, here it is. Third item down.
Yeah.
Steve's AirPods there.
Okay,
showing that they're local. But like you said, it's definitely short distance. I think if you happen to lose one in one of the couch cushions, or under a couch cushion, at least you could. I don't know if it makes a noise or what.
I think it makes a cascading noise. I read it starts out soft and gets louder, because if you have it in your ear and accidentally start that, you don't want to blast your ear, so it starts out soft. Yeah,
it says just play sound. So if you have them in your ear and you think you've lost them.
I'm sure you've done that with eyeglasses or something, looking for them and they're on.
Oh, sunglasses all the time, because I wear these. They're called fit overs that go over the regular glasses. And a lot of times I'll just prop them up on top of my hat, kind of have them up here. I don't know how many times I've gone, where the heck are my sunglasses? Right up here. So embarrassing. Signs of old age.
Yeah, at our age, anything. So I'll tell you what we're liable to say and do here. I think together we're 100. Well, we won't even go there.
Well, let's put it this way. We're getting close to 180.
Yeah. All three getting Dennis here. So, but that's pretty neat. So nothing new here to report. I've tried a few games this week, but nothing on the phone. But I think what I'm most excited about now is we're less than a month away. 4 weeks from today is June 5th. Oh. And that's when WWDC kicks off. And usually they have a keynote to start it, their major keynote. So
yeah, that's going to be good. I just hope that it's kind of a flood of products, because, the biggest issue as a website has been that we really haven't had a lot of announcements, and announcements are wonderful for website views, which is wonderful for revenue, which everybody needs. And we haven't had any good announcements lately. We really need an Apple announcement.
So we're 4 weeks away to the day. What do you think they will announce? Obviously, software across the board, iOS and Mac.
Well, I would really, really hope, and I'm probably going to get my hopes dashed again, but I really hope that they do come out with a new iPad Pro. and I'm really kind of upset about it because I've got well, it's 2 years old. It still works, but
I mean,
I
that's
would.
antiquated, you know.
It's antique, man. I,
Yeah.
especially with Microsoft's announcement last week of the new, what is it, the Surface 4, I think they call it,
Right.
and
Gonna have Windows
999
ads, yeah.
bucks. Yeah, it's Windows. Um, it's Windows. What can I say? But 999 bucks for a touchscreen laptop. I'm sorry, like I mentioned to one of the guys in our secret room. By the way, if anybody is watching this and you're a Team AWT member or not, as long as you're a follower of us on the Apple World Today page on Facebook, you can request to be put into the Apple World Today Speakeasy, which is our secret room. You have to know the secret password and be invited. But
I
anyway,
don't
if
think
you
I'm
get,
even in it. I don't know.
I thought I invited you.
I may have. I don't think I. Is that on Facebook or on Slack?
Facebook.
Oh, I took Facebook off my phone and iPad about a month ago, and I hadn't looked back. Sorry,
Uh-oh. Okay.
but I still check it.
You could check it occasionally.
Yeah, I'll check it occasionally.
But anyway, where was I going with this entire thing? Going down the path of
Well, we're talking about people coming into our group, and I don't know where we were going.
I don't either. That's sad.
Well, we may have to hit rewind to watch the show to see what were we talking about.
I started talking about, let's see,
well, the ads and revenue. Your
ad
iPad's
revenues.
antiquated.
Yeah, so I brought up the fact that we had this old iPad. Actually did a little bit of a survey, and we only got a couple of responses, I think 4 responses, but it said, what would you like to see, or do you think they'll make any announcements before WWDC? And most people think no, it's too close. But man, I'd love to see a new iPad Pro.
Well, my big holdout is for an iMac or Mac Pro, and that's obviously not going to happen this year for the Mac Pro. iMac will probably be September. I think it'll definitely be ready for the holiday season. They want to hit that for sure. But there was even a report on some other site, and I don't remember. I think it was more of an analyst site. I hear cats.
Yes, you do.
That they said that just to get people prepared, I guess they might even show some things about the new iPhone, but I don't think that will happen for sure.
No, because then what's going to happen if they show the features of the new iPhone? Nobody's
Sales
going to buy
now
an
plummet.
iPhone.
Yeah. I know I wouldn't.
Yeah, so, I'd be going, forget it. I'm not going to do this. We all know it's going to be more expensive. So, I think some people are going to probably opt for the iPhone 7S instead of the iPhone 8 or whatever it's called. But still, if I saw a demo and they were saying, this is going to be the next generation iPhone, it'd be like, there's no way I'm going to buy an iPhone 7S.
Well, even Tim Cook addressed that he said that sales had dropped some because of all the leaks.
Yeah.
And so I can see that happening, I never would want to buy an iPhone probably after about March or April.
Exactly.
It's just too close,
Yeah, and actually I can't because I'm on the whatever it's called, iPhone upgrade plan now with Apple, and so I have to wait my requisite 12 months, at which time I can take this beautiful guy in this beautiful case, and I can well, except I'm keeping the case or selling it or giving it away or something, but it's that phone will go bye-bye.
Well, that's what we're both on, 12 months, and just hand them the old one, you get a new one. So and, in our line of work and, enjoyment, you almost have to have the latest.
Got to.
Yeah, exactly. I can't have antiquated technology.
Yeah,
sitting
what
around.
would people think? Come on.
Just a side note here, little things I think our listeners would enjoy. I've mentioned oft times many of the reasons I want to stay with Mac. I like the syncing between everything, just how it all works together. But I've got a Windows machine over here on the left that I do a little bit of gaming with, and it's actually a little old. It's 10 years old, but it works great. Discrete graphics card makes it run good. But I mentioned that it's been running 10 years because yesterday I powered it up and suddenly out of the blue, it says your copy of Windows might not be activated. I bought it 10 years ago. And, so, you just don't have things like that on the Mac. I just never see it. But I rebooted and it went away. And I thought, why out of the blue after 10 years?
Yeah, that was one thing that always drove me nuts about, most of the versions of Windows was the activation process. You have to enter in the activation code. And if you don't do it within a certain number of days, and it comes up and it asks you again. And if you happen to fat finger it, it gets all upset. And then you have to call somebody. And sometimes you have to call them anyway. And not good.
Yeah,
Not
I've
good.
had to go through the call just a little bit. And not to put you on the spot, but I'd ask our listeners, does anyone remember what the last version of Windows was that you don't have to activate? You bought it and just install it, and that's it. I actually won a copy. It was Windows 2000.
Oh.
That was the last one that there was no activation. I remember, and I actually have a copy, and I even have a laptop running it. I use it just to monitor my security cameras that I have around. It works great and rock solid. It runs. Do you remember, of course, I know you do in your business. I have someone gave me, they couldn't get it running, but I got it going software wise, an old IBM ThinkPad, rock solid black ones. And from about, I don't know, 98 or 2000 or so, or maybe earlier.
Yeah.
So I've got Windows 2000 running on it and it works great. Never an issue. But I won that copy. I remember I was browsing somewhere in the early days of the internet. I'm sure I had to have had dial-up because it was in the 90s. And it was on Microsoft's site. It says, enter to win a copy of Windows 2000. So I just clicked and put my email and address. Never thought anything about it. One day FedEx showed up. Here's your copy of Windows 2000. So I still got it, still use it.
I have very, very bad memories of Windows 2000 because I was the regional project manager for a Windows 2000 deployment for Excel Energy. I was an IBM employee at the time. And I don't know, I think it was 10,000 to 12,000 seats between, the entire area. And it was a good project. It, went very well. We got everybody upgraded to, new machines. We got them all on Windows 2000. There was a huge deployment of, what do they call that? My brain's not working. I'm trying to blank out those memories. But it was a system management server, SMS. We did a very big SMS deployment as well. SMS was used to push out, updates and, new software and things like that. And it was a huge project. We got it over with, with no fanfare or anything. It was like finally done. And then the next project was the one that, as I refer to it, it killed me. I just couldn't stand it. And that was we did a server consolidation project where we were taking over 1,000 servers and we were going to get down to under 30.
Wow.
And let's just say that there were a lot of unrealistic expectations at that point.
Well, were y'all looking to do virtual machines? Or?
Yeah, exactly. That was probably, in fact, we were using on the big servers that we had, these big IBM monster servers, and we had a big, huge storage farm that we were building, which I think when we started, and this was like 2002, or 2003, it was about 4 terabytes of storage.
Ah,
I'm sure it's much larger now, but anyway,
ah,
at the time we were using VMware, and because we had some of these servers that were running just some weird off the wall, bizarre applications, and they would only run in this one certain environment. So we had like a bunch of instances of VMware that were all running, and it was kind of interesting. It was different.
well, as I've mentioned, that's what I do here on the Mac. I keep VMware Fusion running, and I run a copy of Windows. It was Windows, I'm trying to think, XP in it. And the reason I do that, I had a lot of files I still need to access and things, word processing. And so on some night I'll have that as my demo. I'll show Windows running on here.
No.
So maybe it was just me and Dennis or something.
Well, I can show Windows 10 on here. I've got parallels and have a beautiful little machine. We can talk to Cortana.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is they've got an app VMware does that you run on your computer, your Windows computer, and it will make it into a virtual machine. It'll just virtualize everything, hardware, software. That's what I did. The machine finally died, but it lives on in the Mac. I've got everything, even the hardware, virtualized. But the interesting thing is it runs far faster on the Mac than it ever did on the real hardware. So, yeah.
Well, especially with the older hardware and older operating systems, you take a look at the power of one of these newer machines, and it's probably looking at that and just going, I can run that.
Exactly. Well, I think it's pretty common, as our listeners know, if they've tuned in or saw my phone, I play World of Warcraft, and which is, a big MMO, and it has hundreds, probably thousands of servers, but it's been no secret they have gone to mostly virtualized servers now with relatively few hardware and such, cost savings and everything. So that's the coming thing, virtualization. I mean, it's already here, obviously.
Yes. Yeah, there's so much just fun stuff out there. I remember the first kind of virtual, in fact, I think it was called virtual PC that you could get to run on the Mac. Oh, God, was that horrible. It was so slow and just buggy and awful. And over the years, you just saw the virtualization capabilities get so much better. Really, the big thing, though, that helped Apple out in that market was when they finally decided, let's get rid of these PowerPC chips and let's go to Intel, because it just made it so much easier for those companies to be able to run a virtualized Intel machine on Intel hardware, instead of a Apple, IBM, Motorola PowerPC chip.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people may not realize that even the iPhone has a virtualization software built into it. It's a Hyper One virtualization within the chip that they can run a lot of that's what they were doing with the 32-bit software, was running it in virtual spaces.
I did not know
within that. I had to send you a link. It's one of I've read this article multiple times. I think it was on ZDNet, a guy had written a few years ago. It's one of the things but it's a level 1 hyper virtualization built into it. And I'm pretty sure, and someone could correct me, but that's what they did with their 32-bit software. It was just virtual environments. So it's built within the iPhone. So there's a lot of places they could go with that. I'll dig it out sometime, send you the link. I thought it was fascinating.
See, I would love to see, the next series of iPad Pro come with a virtualized Mac running, or Mac OS running on it.
I would buy.
Yeah. Because
there's some things on the Mac that I use that just cannot run on iOS. Do you think there's going to be convergence?
I would love it, but I always remember back in the day, Steve Jobs was still alive, and he made the comment. I think somebody asked him, can you do this? And he was like, well, you have a perfect, desktop and laptop operating system, and then you have a tablet and phone operating system. Why would you want to bring them together? Because, you'd make all of these just horrible, it just wouldn't work. And I got to think that nowadays, they might be taking it a little bit more seriously. Because one of the most important things with the iPad that I really miss is true multitasking and being able to have real windows, moving around on the screen at the same time. You could do that with, the larger iPad, the larger iPad Pro, no problems.
Oh yeah, you got the real estate to do it. Um, I'll mention the other side, the other world, but I do have right over. Oh, as a matter of fact, right here, I've got an Android phone that I more or less just use it to play with, and same wallpaper. It's a Motorola G4 Plus, and I bought it just to experiment, see what the other side was like, and in case you ever did Android World today, I wanted to be ready, and so, but um, it. One of the things you can do now, it does have the new version of it. Basically, any software running on here, I can run in two windows and they'll run, separately. And that is actually pretty handy. So one of the reasons I did buy this, of course, like at our church, I like to record things. I've got it programmed to set up to record our services. It stops automatically, uploads to YouTube. I can then turn off Wi-Fi, have it do it every service. I never have to touch it. It's really, I can program it to do things that Apple doesn't let you touch. And so, but there's always the danger, and so.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons when we were experimenting with all these different systems to try to figure out how we could do a really decent quality video conference with good sound and everything. One of the reasons that I knew I couldn't do certain things on the iPad is because it, for instance, the way we used to do things is we actually had Skype running, and then I was taking Skype windows and putting them into this Wirecast program, and it worked. Not very well, but it worked. But you couldn't do that type of thing on the iPad simply because it would only want to listen to like one instance of sound. You couldn't have,
Right.
Couldn't shunt sound over to another string, so to speak. So I have a cat who's just driving me nuts here right now. Are you hungry or something?
Not that there's a real world need for this, but one of the things I know I can do on Android that I can't on the iPhone or Mac is I can play multiple audio streams and even record multiple. I've done it just to push it. I can have two apps that record and they both will record. Why would I need it? I don't know, just because it can. But there's a lot of times where I want an audio playing softly in the background that's, say, not always on. Like I've got an app to listen to, like our local volunteer fire departments if there's a weather event going on. The iPhone, if I'm listening to that, then start listening to, say, some kind of other streaming audio, it wants to shut that stream down.
Yeah.
But the Android will not. It'll let me run as many streams as I want, or till you're driven crazy, listening to them all. Sometimes I
So
can
that's
jump.
what happened.
Yeah, all of it. And sometimes I can jump through some hoops and make it happen on the iPhone. If I open a certain thing first and then start the other, sometimes it doesn't close it. But you never know for sure. So I would love to see more true multitasking, the bottom line.
Me too. Well, and I'm, once again, absolutely thankful that somehow, some way we got directed to Zoom, because it has been, if anybody out there is using Skype for business video conferencing, drop it like a hot rock, spend the money and go out and get Zoom. We haven't had, like tonight, we haven't had any dropouts at all. The video is clear. It's awesome. And, I can't say enough good things about this software.
It is really impressive. sharing screens, and it's it's great software. It works perfectly.
Well, and if anybody is watching this either probably after the fact, we seem to have a lot more after the fact viewers than live viewers. But if anybody's watching this after the fact and you happen to, like I said, be a Team AWT member, we would like to invite Team AWT members to actually join in on the show using the Zoom software. We have several times now sent out the address that's associated with this particular podcast. And what you can do is actually be a participant. We'll keep you muted for most of the show, but when you want to bring up a comment or whatever, we'll unmute you and let you have your way. So one of these days, your face could be on the screen.
And you can even click and I think raise your hand on here. So,
yeah. Hello.
Yeah.
Or you could just go, hey.
Yeah. But it works really neat. And so.
Well, I noticed we're coming up on like 56 minutes here, so probably ought to wrap it up for the night. Just wanted to let viewers know, if you happen to ever watch the British Tech Network Mac show, which is on, I think it's on Fridays. I got to look at my calendar here. Yeah, it's on Fridays, like 8 a.m. Pacific time, which would be 9, 10, 11 o'clock Eastern time. I'm going to be a guest this week, so that'll be fun. So,
and I've watched it. It's a great show.
Yeah, Ewan just does a fantastic job of, he handles like 6 people. I keep telling him he ought to go to Zoom, but he won't do it. And so he has problems with the Skype connections all the time. They actually have, I think it's 6 different Mac minis that are sitting there, each one grabbing a particular instance of Skype and then passing it on to one machine.
You know, some night we'll have to push it and see if we could get like 6 or 8 people on here and how well Zoom's going to handle that.
I think it's going to handle it pretty well.
As long as we got the bandwidth, it should be fine. So.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of which, last week, once again, most of you probably know, but I also did a whatever the heck you want to call it, kind of a live stream during the Apple earnings call, and we sent that one to Facebook just to see how Facebook streaming would work from here, and it actually worked out pretty good. It was not the most exciting video you'd ever want to see, because it's just me going, well, I was listening to the phone call and then I'd say something, but it was interesting.
And on that note, we talked, you and I did, about possibly streaming here and Facebook at the same time. So,
yeah, I checked into that. At this time, unfortunately, they can't do it. But I got a funny feeling there's a way we could do it.
Well, you know, the old-fashioned simple tech. Just mount your iPhone on a tripod and Facebook broadcast that way.
What he said. So. As long as you got enough bandwidth, and buddy, you're going to have tons of bandwidth coming up here soon.
I'm hoping. I tell you what, I saw one of the people that start staking it out for the engineers out here, stopped in front of our house looking. So I'm hoping 1 gig is coming. So I'm hoping soon. But
I'm so jealous. I shouldn't.
Yeah. Well, it's there's a lady I saw the other night at church. I saw she has fiber on her house. I can tell what the phone company installs when they get the fiber done. She doesn't have internet. She's not interested. Well, every time I go by her house, I see it. Almost a tear comes in my eye that she's got fiber and doesn't care. And so, but anyway, it is coming. It's very, very close. And I'd like to know if you find out later on what AT&T has for the carrier updates for your phone.
Yeah, I installed it. You know, usually they don't tell you what's going on there.
Sometimes voice over internet will, cause that. You may have already had that. I think AT&T does.
Yeah. So, speaking of which, I saw something late this afternoon. This is probably the last thing I'll say, but I saw something actually when we were over eating pizza. I should bring up that. They were apparently Xfinity is coming out with something called X-Fi. That's Comcast, of course, but anyway, they're calling it X-Fi, and apparently it's a mesh networking setup. And I don't know if they're planning on changing out some of their routers, and then you'll have little mesh, setups throughout the house, or what's going on. But just saw something about it. Don't know anything about it yet.
Well, it's interesting where we're going. So actually, a lot of good discussion tonight of things.
Absolutely. So I think we're going to have to do this next week.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I will be gone next week to an end of year concert that my niece is having. My wife and I will be there. But so I'll tell the viewers that I might just pop in mobile afterwards and see how it works. So Zoom will, if it'll let someone else slip in.
I bet Zoom would do that. It's a pretty handy app, and we would love to see you come in over regular old phone data. That would be pretty cool.
Even though we live in the country, I can see 2 or 3 towers from my house, and I know the one in front here down the way, a couple miles or less, has LTE. So I get about 50 up, 50 down meg. So that, that's pretty good on that.
That is really good. Well, for Apple World Today TV, or AWT TV, this has been Steve Sandy and Marty Edwards. This has been episode 7, and today is what? May 8th, 2017. We'll be back next week, or at least I will, and probably Dennis, who was having car problems this evening. But we'll have another fun discussion, and look forward to seeing everybody next week. So I'll run the wonderful end, whatever we want to call it, outro. Everybody have a great week.
Good evening.